Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Welcome to Weird News. I'm your host, Taejha.
And I'm Jordan. Welcome back, everybody. We have another episode here to just like brighten everyone's day. That's what we're going for.
Yes, always got to keep it bright and sunny like today is. A nice sunny morning for us all shining out there.
Or night or morning. I don't know when you're listening to this. Or it could be in a hurricane or snow. But regardless, we're having a good day. I'm sorry that you're not.
Yeah, I would hope you are. That's Jordan. I'm sorry that you're not.
Just in case, I want to be understanding.
Well, hopefully now your day is even more amazing, and I hope it grows great for the rest of the day.
Grows great.
Goes great.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So speaking of some people, having some fun, great times.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those stories. Right now, we are going to be talking about in the section of sports. Mm-hmm. Because sports, we have a weird news. What we're going to be trying to do.
There's always weird sports to do, weird events going on, obstacle courses people can take action in.
Yeah, we're going to be trying to include some of those weird sports, throughout. Because we've got a lot of them as human history is going on. The first one we're going to be talking about, is the wife-carrying competition.
Yes, Frederick's annual Midwest wife carrying contest, to be more specific.
So can you tell me anything about this wife?
Yeah, well, actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be your wife. It could be your wife, your neighbor's wife, someone a little more up the road. She just has to be the age of 17 or older, and she has to be a minimum of 108 pounds. And if she weighs anything less, then she's going to have to carry some type of, potato sack or something that's going to make her heavier. So
your wife can still join in if she's very small and skinny. She just has to carry something to weigh her down a bit more.
Exactly. So that the competition will be more, fair all around for everybody.
Okay.
There are contest rules. There are contest rules to this as well. The only equipment that they're allowed to wear is a belt worn by the carrier, and the carrier must wear a helmet.
Also, in the rules, everyone has to have fun. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And the contestants run two at a time. Mm-hmm. So that's the race in itself. Like, it's just me against you, And then,
yes.
So it's like a tournament kind of thing, like darts. You can't just have 10 different people playing.
Exactly. And the entry fee is $10 each for each person to participate.
Comes with a t-shirt though, so not that bad.
Yeah, you're just pretty much paying for a t-shirt and you're playing for free, honestly.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of wife carrying before this?
No, not necessarily wife carrying. I might have heard of just other contests where you're able to just carry somebody to the next obstacle course, but the simple fact that it's like wife carrying, and then they're also involving beer for when you win the contest.
Yeah, you can, or if you're under 17, then you win soda.
Yeah.
So wife carrying, this has been going on for a very long time, and it's a sport which the male, as you may already be aware, is carrying the female teammate. Mm-hmm. Like Taejha said, doesn't always have to be your wife. It can be your neighbor's wife, they even say in the rules, or just somebody that you just met earlier. So the object is for the male to carry the female through a special obstacle track in the fastest time. Now, the sport was introduced in Sonkajärvi, Finland?
Yes.
Okay.
It was originally just like a joke, and people just did it for fun, like just, hey, like I'm going to go carry my wife around and like be fun. But then it actually became a legit competition in ways so where people compete against it, and it become an annual thing that people always like to win stuff. And the way that they are determined who and how much beer they even win is the wife has to go sit on a teeter-totter. And she balances.
You win her weight in the beer.
Exactly.
So you have 108 pounds of beer at least coming to you.
Yeah.
Which is an intense amount of beer, right? Like,
yes,
you're
like
sad.
that. You're partying for that night for sure.
That's some of the major competitions, though. This is actually something that goes around a lot. Even in America, Wisconsin and Michigan have North American wife-carrying championships that take place every year on Columbus Day weekend in October.
I wonder why it's just
it.
Columbus Day weekend.
I don't know. Maybe that's a good question. Maybe it's just good weather,
Yeah.
Perfect time in Michigan for some wife carrying.
In American history, he invented something, made us learn something new. So I guess that's what their point is about this wife carrying contest.
Yeah, they're just learning something new, right?
Yes, and there also is legit postures to how you carry your wife. You can either do it the traditional piggyback style. You can dangle her upside down by carrying her, throw her over your shoulder, or crosswise, the carriers over your shoulders as well, like have her sitting on top of your shoulders. And the outfits you would usually wear most likely is anything comfortable, anything sports and workout gear. The life attitude you need to have about this, like you said before, Jordan, is just all about having fun, all around excitement.
Yeah, definitely. And this is actually something that's all over the world. I mean, even in South America, people are doing this. So I don't know if it's more of a Western thing, but wife carrying comes with a lot of history. It's been going on since the 1800s.
Yeah, and they actually do this on legit tracks where you are actually doing workouts. Like the track is at least 277 yards long of them going through different obstacle courses and hurdling over different logs and stuff.
Yeah. So, and
imagine
not only that, but there's techniques
being carried
to
and
it
someone
too.
having to jump you. Exactly. There's real techniques. I'm pretty sure that there are couples who are not married or even in relation with each other. They're just friends who use each other to compete for these type of contests. Like, hey, honey, I'm going to go compete with, Norris over there because he knows how to carry me better, and we're going to take this beer home tonight.
That sounds good. Yeah.
I think it brings all the community together as well, not just about, because say if you didn't want to participate, but you definitely want to root for someone.
Yeah, that's true. Now, this is something, the history of it is Ukonkanto first originated in Finland, which is what they'd call it. Tales have been passed down from one person to another about a man named Herko Rosvo Ronkainen. I think that's right, but I'm not from there. This man was considered a robber in the late 1800s and lived in a forest and ran around with his gang of thieves causing harm to villages.
No.
From what has been found, there are three ideas to how the sport was invented. First, Rosvo Ronkainen and his thieves were accused of stealing food and women from villages in the area he lived in, then carried the women on their backs as they ran away, hence the wife or women carrying. For the second idea, it was said that young men would go to villages near their own, steal other men's wives, and then have the women become their own wife.
Wow. They would run away with them, literally.
Yeah, well, that's the theory.
The point where it came from.
Run away. Now she's my wife now. These wives were these wives were also carried on the backs of young men. This was referred to as the practice of wife stealing. Lastly, there was the idea of Rosvo Ronkainen. He's back again. He trained his thieves to be faster and stronger by carrying big, heavy sacks on their backs, which could have eventually evolved into a sport because the hard labor, endurance, and the muscle strengthening, which most sports ensure. Even though this sport's been considered by some as a joke, competitors take it very seriously, which you can tell with all the techniques that they have. They have certain names for holding, wives on the back.
Honestly, I would assume people would take it very seriously because, honestly, at the end of the day, all you're actually doing is carrying an object and racing to the next point. Yeah. So if you're just going to get a whole bunch of competitive men involved and even competitive women, you're going to have a woman on top of you telling you to run faster, and you're going to have a guy next to you competing against you. So you're going to just, no matter who, even if it's a wife, a chair, a log, anything you're carrying, you're gonna want to get to that next checkpoint.
And it's crazy. I mean, some of these look very uncomfortable. So some of the types that you can do to carry are piggyback, which we all know that, the fireman's carry, which is over the shoulder, or Estonian style, which is where the wife hangs upside down with her legs around the husband's
your shoulders. Yes.
Holding onto his waist like like a strap backpack, you know?
Yeah, but upside down.
Yeah.
That would be so funny if she tried to hold on also with her arms. So her arms are just like holding him backwards on his back, you know, and she's dangling upside down, trying not to hit her head on his bottom, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, the funny thing is that for this game, you can, like, there's an advantage to having a heavier weight because that's like 5 more pounds of beer for you, you know? Like, there's kind of a reward system based on how much you can carry. So this has been something going on, a wife carrying world championship. It's been happening in Finland since 1992. And that's where the beer weight thing comes in handy.
Yeah, and what's also really cool about this contest is not only do they win in regards to who competed the course the fastest, but they also win in regards to who had the best costume. Dressed together for just all around entertainment in general. That might be one of the reasons they do it around Columbus Day, because you can dress in different, you know,
people have little outfits on and everything.
Exactly. And one of an all-time high is that there was 40 couples that competed in this contest at one point in time. So that's 80 people.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, running around.
That's intense.
Playing a game. So that's a big event, honestly.
Yeah, it's huge.
So.
Well, I mean, wife carrying, I've seen a few of the videos. They have to go through water. They have to go through different
There's at
things.
least one water course and 2 dry ones.
Yeah, so it's an intense game, and it's something I would really love to see live.
Yeah, that would be really, honestly fun. They should do it as some
Any
type of
sport
like
that has
marathon
drinking in
trial thing, you know?
Yeah.
But it being wife carrying contest.
I feel like if you have if your like prize or anything involving in the sport involves alcohol, it's something that doesn't take itself serious. Like it knows how to have fun, you know.
I'm pretty sure people pregame before this contest for sure.
I don't know. I feel like it'd be hard enough to go through all of this.
Yeah, it would be very hard to carry somebody and run around. But at the end of the day, it's all about fun and entertainment.
Yeah, it is. And with that, we have to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about technology. So stick around, guys, to hear about some robot brothels.
Yes, we'll be right back with Weird News.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to Weird News. Like Jordan said, we have some weird technology news for you guys, you know?
This is our section, our technology section of it, and we want to start out very strong with what people love, robots and robot brothels.
Yeah.
We
people
combine
love
those.
robots and people, right?
Yeah. They love robots and people. That's why we have robots, because people love people. So we have what are robot brothels, which is something we're in the future, right? Like, this is definitely...
We are definitely in the future. With the fact that British sex industry undergoes their technology revolution is one of the reasons why they're bringing these sex brothels into play with these robots as well.
So what they're doing is creating very lifelike, expensive dolls, and they're making an entire brothel out of it where people can come in, and they're saying that this is going to help with STDs and things like that to kind of put a stop to it, because it's a doll. It can
not,
be cleaned.
Yeah, it's not just a doll. Like, it's a legit human-size robot to the extreme. It's like mannequins times 10 with the fact that it's a full
this
woman.
isn't just your average, like, you know, American thing. This is... A cheap one is $6,000. They're incredibly expensive. Now, this started up back in Japan, where they have already brothels that are going around there that you can just go check out, these robot brothels. And they're even trying to work to make them more lifelike, giving them conversations and teaching them how, like, where they basically learn how to talk to people, talking in the same lingo, talking in the same way that they do, so it can seem as real as possible. That's the creepy part to me. That's the part where I go, oh, wow, this is like a sci-fi movie gone wrong.
Yeah, honestly, this is just really interesting. It makes you a little taken away from real people, and the fact that they are adding so many robots into this world. It's like a blow up doll, but to the extreme, you know? So the fact that you can take this doll, and they say that potentially the doll's better with sexual innuendos and foreplay than an actual person would be. When you go to these broths, you can like participate in these unsanctioned situations without it being regulated, because you're at this brothel as well too. So I think this is just playing into a lot of people's fetishes.
Yeah, no, this is like where you can have whatever you want to be. Like, you know, you can make the woman that person wants, right?
Yes.
Customized, made exactly, which is going to be great for rich people. I mean, you can make a model of, I don't know, a historical figure, but I think overall it is a weird, like, I guess I don't want to sound like an old man get off my lawn kind of thing, but it definitely is surprising, and it's kind of like, it kind of takes you back a bit.
Yeah, because they're not just saying that these robots can be used in brothels. They're like, take them home with you. Bring them home.
Yeah.
Live with them, make them your companion as well. The fact that, you know, you choose their nail size, the color of them, you know, they have belly button rings as well, full on bathing suits. This is just a real person. I'm wondering, like, wonder if these robots actually talk. That's one of the reports that I was looking more into in depth and trying to see if they said that, but it doesn't say anything about them actually speaking versus them just doing actions for you, right?
And I think that some of them, they're just trying to overall make things feel as real as possible. They believe that experts think that, like, big sex industries like Amsterdam, the red light district, it's going to be brimming.
Light.
Yeah, a famous place. They're going to be brimming with cyborgs by 2025. So it's within this decade even.
This is iRobot.
This is iRobot. This is how it starts.
This is how it starts.
And, you know, this is one of those things where I can think, oh, this is weird or whatever, but in the end, it's for a good cause. I mean, because they're helping end sex slavery, which is a terrible thing. They're also helping end, you know, the spread of STDs. I mean, there are advantages to it. When you think about it, it's all like, there's a lot of advantages. I mean, you could say that, oh, this is going to make you alienated. Well, people are already alienated. You have so many things.
But people are really in love with these dolls. People are legit falling in love with these sex dolls. There's a man in Japan claims that he has the perfect relationship with his doll, and her name is Sori. And she's a she's a rubber doll who he shares along with his wife.
Oh, so it's a double relationship.
Yeah.
There. He's a polygamist.
Yes. He says he is in love with his giant dummy, which he takes out on shopping trips, and he can buy expensive outfits for her.
Wow.
Right? As well. So they're completely 100% dressing these dolls, and they're their own home toys, literally. And this other guy who is 3 times divorced in Australia claims that he's in love with the sex doll, and her name is Nani.
Yeah.
So these people are very into these relations with these other dolls. I think it just has to also do with just like control and just having a companion that's there when you want them and do what you want them to do when you want them to do it.
That's true. I mean,
it's like a dog sometimes, you know?
Well, there was this man, and he was 28 years old. He's in China, and he has terminal cancer.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And this happened last year, though, or 10 years from now, depending on when you're listening to this podcast. So this man wanted to always be married; it was his dream, but he didn't want to leave a heartbroken widow. So what he did was he decided to marry a sex doll. You know,
he was being really kind.
Yeah, he didn't want to make anyone go through that, but he still wanted to be able to say, "Hey,
to have
I
relations
married."
with someone." Yeah.
Yeah. So
that is a commendable man.
He had a wedding for a sex doll.
I wonder if she had any family come to the wedding.
A toaster oven, a VHS player, yeah.
You know, an Easy Bake might have been there as well as a family member, too. You never know.
I'm looking at the pictures right now. There's a Game Boy taped to a dodgeball. Yeah, it's...
And the fact that these people are spending all this money on these extravagant designer clothes for these robot dolls. Like this man who had this wedding, that doll was dressed in a full wedding gown with a tiara. I bet you that tiara was real diamonds.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'm sure it is. Well, why wouldn't it be? It's it's a very expensive sex doll.
Yeah, if you're gonna pay that much for a sex doll, you better treat it the right way.
Yeah, you better get the diamonds.
You better get the diamonds, and I'm pretty sure if you say the cheapest one is $6,000, some of these people overseas that it has been seen to be more of a craving for them. I'm pretty sure that they're not paying just the $6,000 cheap robot that moves. They want the real lifelike looking one that's going to be at least a $15,000 investment. So if you're going to spend that much money on something, you better make sure it looks nice. It's like a car that you didn't keep clean.
You're right, and I can tell like a lot of people listening to this are going to go, oh, that's so weird though. That's so. I mean, yeah, it is weird. It's something that you don't definitely see every day, but it's not something that this is the first time this has happened. Actually, in 6 years ago, 2010, and there was a man who married a giant body pillow with a woman's picture on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he went on to say it felt like he was complete. He was also 28 years old.
I think the robot is a lot more likely to do because it just actually is. It looks like a person.
Yeah.
Like if you were in the dark, you wouldn't know that it wasn't a person.
The man with the pillow, one of his friends said that he is completely obsessed with this pillow and takes it everywhere.
Oh,
they go
he loves
out to
her.
a park or to a fun fair, and he'll go on all the rides with him. And then he goes out and he takes it with him and gets his own seat and its own meal. So I think that people's desperate need for companionship has always been there. It's just now we're kind of making things more real to keep up with it.
But
and while
the guy
it's still
with
going to
the
be very
pillow,
weird, yeah,
he reminds me of a little boy with his blankie.
I think it feels weirder to me than that
Yeah,
because it's like
it's
a body
pillow,
with
yeah.
a girl on it.
Yeah, it's a body you sleep with those. It's probably like a pregnancy pillow.
Yeah,
it's what he's using.
That's true.
I think he should stick to the robots. He should buy one of them. He should definitely invest, and I'm sure he probably will fall in love all over again.
And there was another guy who married a virtual girlfriend who existed on a Nintendo DS game. So this is something that I think it's always going to feel unusual. It's always going to be weird. People have a lot of opinions on what marriage is, but if it doesn't do any harm, right? This is one of those situations where I guess we're just in the future now, and you didn't ask to be born outside of a place that had
But that's a good thing to question. How do you actually write out this marriage document? I know both of their, that robot's fake name or the name that they were given will be on there, but
I feel like that'd be the
it's
easiest
just not
thing
real.
to do. Yeah, but
it's not a person.
Whatever.
There's
right?
nobody. Well, at the end of the day, you had a witness there. The witness said,
yeah,
that's who you married.
They got married. You got married.
I saw it.
So
they did it.
We're going to have to go to a commercial break. I hope you guys enjoyed that. This is one of our weirder segments, but for the show's sake, when we come back, we are going to finish off with some spontaneous human combustion. So stick around, and we will see you very soon.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch, whatever it may be.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Weird News Show, where we've talked about sex brothels with robots and wife-carrying competitions in countries other than America, but that hasn't stopped us from doing them too. So, next we're going to talk about something a little bit more bizarre and something that's very unexplainable. I am talking about spontaneous human combustion. So, thoughts, Taejha, initial thoughts. When you first heard spontaneous human combustion, what did you think?
Am I going to explode?
No.
Honestly.
You thought it could happen to you?
Yeah, well, no, I don't think it could happen to me because I don't think that I'm going to have any
You drink
fires.
a lot of water.
Yeah, I drink water. I don't think any, spontaneous fires are just going to ignite inside of my body.
Me neither, hopefully.
I know. Hopefully not.
I don't know. That's
Especially,
part of the
I don't want to
mystery.
be participating in any wife carrying contests. And next thing you know, I just explode on someone's back because I just caught fire on them. That would have been really rude.
That would be very rude. That's a real social faux pas, especially in Finland.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be talking about is, as we were just saying, spontaneous human combustion and what we don't know about it. Now, most of you have heard spontaneous human combustion before. It's that weird myth that we talked about when you hold in your farts long enough or whenever, you say something mean and, you get struck down. And a lot of times, spontaneous human combustion has been disproven. There's a lot of times where we thought, it could happen to anybody. And we're starting to say, no, actually, a lot of these results aren't isn't due to that. It's something more logical.
I would assume this is not even anywhere near real or true or how it would even be possible to happen. But I feel like the only way it could potentially happen is like you were eating a whole bunch of like acid-filled foods, hot Cheetos. You weren't letting out any of your gas. You didn't drink any water. You smoked something that was also heat building in your body.
Yeah.
And you just had a whole bunch of like acid,
just a weird like cocktail of things that would.
Yeah, it was like, just cocktails of different things and like sticks type of situations just rubbing together all together and you just cause a fire inside of you is the only way I can think of it happening.
Well, this has been going on for a long time. Throughout history, people have wondered what's going on with spontaneous human combustion. Actually, in 1938, there was an article that cited an 1823 published book about, medical journalism, and it stated that a common factor in the cases of spontaneous human combustions are the victims are chronic alcoholics. They're usually elderly females. The body was not burned spontaneously, but some lighted substances come into contact with it.
And their hands and feet usually fall off.
The hands and feet are still intact. While the body can be ash, the limbs can still just be there, that just broke off from the body. And the fire caused very little damage to things around, combustible things. Like there can be a box of matches just a couple feet away from you that are a foot away from you. They could be on the nightstand while you're on the bed, and they won't go off whatsoever.
Well, I think it's also because of the fact...
It's internalized.
Yeah, it's internalized. So since our bodies already just have a lot of oxygen and carbon monoxide is building in it already, I think that's why it might have been able to contain its source of fire, and maybe our extra limbs fall off because those areas lose circulation faster than anything else. So
yeah,
they would just be cut off from the sources of oxygen anyway, so they just don't burn.
Maybe, I feel like there's a lot of. I just do not know enough about it.
My hands and my feet get cold faster than any other body part.
That's true. That's true.
They weren't on fire.
Well, a lot of people back then, in say the Victorian era, physicians thought that spontaneous human combustion was a result of alcoholism. But we thought a lot of things were the result of alcoholism. And while alcoholism can result in a lot of things, we're kind of starting to disprove that. But at the point in time right now, people aren't necessarily sure with a few of these cases. So a couple of them that I'm going to get into right now. I'm going to start off with Miss Mary Reeser, and this is going to be all the way back in 1951, good old July 2nd, Independence Day Eve. So, back then, Miss Mary Reeser, she was found burned to death in her house after her landlady realized that the house's doorknob was extremely hot. The landlady notified the police, and upon entering the home, they found Reeser's remains completely burned into ash, with only her lower legs remaining. So, legs were still there, just the arms and the whole rest of the body, which is weird that the fire contained itself so much, right?
Yeah, it did not even burn her legs off.
Yeah, the chair she was sitting in was also destroyed, so just the legs. Chair even got it too.
Well, around her was over 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So.
Yeah, they found that her temperatures were at least around 3,500 degrees, and that puzzled them because the hot temperatures left almost all of the room intact. So how can something get that hot without at least affecting the rest of the place, you know?
See, that's just why I say about like our bodies just really contain things, because it's like how did her internal temperature get so high but everything else around her didn't explode? You would expect that at least she would explode, not just turn into ashes, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It was actually even, at this point in time that she was a user of sleeping pills and a smoker. So a big theory that was going around was that the smoking a cigarette after taking the sleeping pill, she fell asleep, and with the lit cigarette, it burned through her gown and led to her death. They also found that the fire had burnt a socket, which stopped the clock at 2:26 a.m. So it seems like it was very late at night. It's very plausible that, she could have been burned while she was asleep.
On sleeping pills. So there must have been pretty strong sleeping pills for you not to wake up and you feel that you're burning.
But with temperatures that high and that internalized where you can hit 3,500 degrees, and at the same time, I mean...
She was on some good sleeping pills.
Well, I mean, if he can get that... If the fire, if it can get that hot without affecting the rest of the room... It kind of adds a bit more of a mystery to it, right?
Yeah, it would make you think that was there some other type of genetic things going on in her body that made her to be able to contain such a high amount of fire degrees and heat to contain this, and then just her legs burn off. Like, it's just a very interesting situation. And then the fact that the investigators don't know if it 100% just came from inside of her because she was so hot, or if the cigarette actually lit her gown on fire, because maybe that's why the rest of her legs weren't burned. But then it's like, are humans, explosive objects at the same time? It's just very interesting that they truly don't even know exactly how she died, other than she burned to death, in a sense.
Yeah, and this has been a mystery for a while. The first mention of spontaneous human combustion in history was Polonus Vorstius, when he was a regular Italian knight in the late 1400s who liked wine, women, and song. So he was... He drank a lot of wine. He said he consumed 2 ladles of very strong wine, and it disagreed with him. Then people said that he immediately vomited flames and burst into flames entirely.
See, I think this happens to do with the fact that people are always just involved with alcohol in some type of way. Just all that alcohol, one, is a flammable object in general. So if you're just going to, I guess, add a whole bunch of like flammable content into your body, and then you smoke a cigarette and you just... kind of lit yourself up, not even knowing that you just lit up. He just turned into a human dragon.
Yeah. And there's a lot of cases like that where I haven't seen a lot that vomiting up fire, which is the most intense thing I've ever heard.
That's honestly kind of cool. If it didn't harm you.
Yeah. So there was another, there's a lot of cases along that where people leave the legs and things like that. There was even a case where somebody wasn't smoking or anything like that. They couldn't blame it on that, and never drank in his life. And yet he had the same result. The same thing happened to him as the woman prior that we were talking about, who got set up in flames. So it's a really weird situation to be in, and it's still a mystery today. And while we've kind of debunked a lot of things that we were always afraid of, wolfmen and things along those lines, this is something that I'm still just as curious before. Another peculiar thing that's happening, it's a common factor, is that the skulls of the victims would shrink. Now, there was a forensic investigator.
That's why I'm saying there's some type of genetics going on that we're like missing with these people.
Like a chemistry kind of thing?
Yeah, like it has to be some type of chemistry, combustion, something going on in regards to just the alcohol, the brain shrinking, certain parts not.
Well, in the situation, there was one guy who wasn't a drinker or a smoker. So you have to wonder. And there was,
that's why I'm like his genetics were in play.
I don't know. Maybe. There was a situation in this where somebody was just, the skull was shrinking. And there was somebody that was doing the investigation, the forensics. And he said, out of all the cases, this is the one that still baffled him. He had no idea what's happening. And a big thing that really bugged this dude was the fact that all of these people in any case he's seen with somebody that, being cremated, if anything, the skull will kind of grow a little bit. It'll expand.
Yeah.
So shrinking is the exact opposite to be happening, and it adds one more layer to the mystery of it.
Wow. See, this is just a scientific mystery in general. Like, how do people's bodies are able to do this? I think it has to be some type of chemist situation that they should investigate more in depth in. But then it's hard to investigate, ashes.
This is one of those things where I wish I just had a lever, and when I pull it, the answer to a question just pops up. You know what I mean?
Like the light bulb just went off.
Just all right, got it kind of thing.
So this definitely brings us to the end of our Weird News podcast.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I definitely did.
I know. I definitely always enjoy you, Jordan.
God, you're so sweet. Same here.
So you can definitely check us out on our network website, GSMCpodcast.com.
That's .com, not .org, and certainly not .gov.
Yes.
I just made it a lot harder to remember.
.com, guys. As well as you can find us on, you can like us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter, as well as find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play.
I think that pretty much covers it all. Do you have anything else to say?
Well, I'm Taejha.
I'm Jordan.
And we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.